Welcome, my constant scryers. I've been known by many names over the centuries, but for you, I will be your eternal dungeon master. I am transmitting these words so that other creators like yourself may use these tales for would-be adventurers, or warp your new realities from them. Creating a universe can be a lot of work, so I am here to shoulder some of that burden for you. You can take as little or as much as you wish from these tales, inject them into your own, or just use them as inspiration to torture and delight your flock of hapless heroes. So whether you're new to this, looking for some quick inspiration, or whether you're an old basilisk who wants to learn some new tricks, we'll take this time together to explore the lands, meet interesting characters, and identify the myriad of perils and horrors that plague the lands. As we're just getting acquainted, we'll take this opportunity to get to know each other and the lands our victims of our adventurers inhabit. We'll call this our Session Zero, shall we? In the coming week, I'll bring you entire stories from across the realms, mysteries, oddities, treasures yet unfound, or just great evils to thwart. So let's start with where we are, shall we? We inhabit a planet called Toril. Many of the inhabitants of this planet will not even be aware that they exist on a planet, or that there are other celestial bodies within our galaxy. For some, it's enough to stare up at the stars in wonderment and proclaim that the lights in the skies are the will of the gods. I'm happy to leave them with their wonderment. But for us, dear scryers, we shall bear the burden of these knowledges. There are other planets in our solar system, and we may even dig into the secrets of some of them hold at some point. But for now, it suffices to know that we are on Toril, and that we have a sister planet closely linked to ours called Abir. Toril shall remain our main focus, though, and of the many lands upon Toril, we shall be focusing on Faerûn. Faerûn is the western half of our continent. It is bordered by the endless ice sea to the north, the empires of Kara-Tur to the east, and across the Great Sea to the south lies the desert lands of Zakhara. Within Faerûn, we shall focus our adventures within the Sword Coast, but we'll also visit the cultures and peoples of Cormyr to the southeast, to the south, and the frozen wastes up by the spine of the world to the north of the Sword Coast. The Sword Coast itself is populated by 4 major cities. Baldur's Gate, a paragon of military might and virtue, watched over by soldiers that also act as the city's guards, known as the Flaming Fist. Baldur's Gate maintains strict order in its bountiful shopping districts and along the streets that lead to the homes of some of Sword Coast's most wealthy citizens. But fear not, scryers. For those who prefer to conduct their business in the shadows, Baldur's Gate also contains its dockside districts and the slums of the Heapside. Second, further up the coast is Waterdeep, an incredibly prosperous city, so wealthy that it has earned the nickname the City of Splendors. But this moniker belies Waterdeep's cruel and unforgiving heart. So corrupt is Waterdeep that its ruling council has for years been shrouded in mystery. The masked lords of Waterdeep rule over the city in anonymity for fear of its leaders succumbing to assassination, blackmail, or other unspeakable perils. They say you can buy or sell almost anything in Waterdeep, And while magical artifacts and potions of incomparable strength are on clear display, others know that if you search deep enough into the city's underbelly, political powers, assassinations, and formidable arcane knowledge can all be had for a price. And yet, north of Waterdeep, the wondrous city of Neverwinter lies at the base of the Neverwinter River. So warm are the river's waters that the Bay of Neverwinter will hold no ice even in the coldest weather. Neverwinter is hailed as a place of technological marvel and incredible artistry. Craftsmen, artists, and scholars have all flocked to Neverwinter to commune with their intellectual equals, exchanging knowledge and bettering their own crafts. It's home to the invention of the Neverwinter water clock, a device so accurate in its keeping of the hours, there is said to be no equal. Truly an artificer's paradise, Neverwinter holds artistic and technological marvels that are the envy of the Sword Coast. Even further still up into the north, the city of Luskan is the last respite before the formidable mountain range known as the Spine of the World. A true trade city dealing out its wealth of glittering ores, metals, and prized scrimshaw artistries. Luskan's inhabitants are hard scrabble, forged from long winters and hard living against the spine of the world. Ostentatious displays of wealth are shunned by most of Luskan's long-term inhabitants. They'll claim that they are a simple people made up of fishermen, tradespeople, and former sailors. If you wish to avoid giving offense, it's best not to utter the word pirate within its city walls, as many of Luskan's most prominent residents are current or former captains, whose wealth may well be earned as much by plunder as it is by trade. Luskan trades all up and down the Sword Coast by land, but its true strength comes from the freedom of its ports. Indeed, most any ship can register as a trade ship in Luskan, and few questions are asked when those ships need to sell their rich cargo quickly. But we've spoken enough of geography for now, my constant scryers. I know many of you are watching out over small parties of adventurers. Do you thirst for knowledge of the realms? Or do you simply hunger for tales of hidden dangers to lead unsuspecting heroes towards? Whatever your appetites, I will satiate them. Some of you scryers perhaps are would-be adventurers looking to uncover secrets of the land, or just hear tales of evils that are waiting to be vanquished. We will feed that hunger. Let's fill you in on what's been going on in Faerûn. I've been gathering dark whispers from the material realms, the untamed Feywilds, the dark corners of the Shadowfell, and all the places outside of the Inner Planes. My bats are gathering intel up and down the Sword Coast, whispering to me secrets of villains and adventurers alike. And they have been busy, dear scryers, for we live in interesting times. We should start with the moment that has been causing so much trouble across Faerûn. An event called the Blinding. I suspect the wizards of the coast have been meddling in the magics that hold our realities together, but we cannot know for sure, for they frequently are an inscrutable lot. Whatever caused the blinding, for over a minute, the vision of every person and every creature in the plains flashed to a brilliant white. It was as though the world was too bright to behold, or that it was coming apart at the seams. Even the busiest of streets in Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate became still as everyone wondered if they were struck blind, or if their planes themselves had begun to split. So far, I have heard of no one who is immune to this flash of blindness. It's possible the gods themselves were struck sightless for a moment. But who's to fathom the power of the great beings? Perhaps they caused it themselves. Or perhaps they were among the afflicted. So far, we do not know who or what caused the blinding. Only that none were left untouched, and that Faerûn itself seems somehow changed. Firstly, if you're in contact with any of the great mages across the land, or if you yourself are possessed of great magical powers, you will know that portals are malfunctioning all across the plains. Permanent known portals that lead to the Feywilds have ceased to function, or are taking travelers to unexpected destinations. The Council of Mages from Cormyr have no answers for us, dear scryers. Likewise, the Lords of Waterdeep themselves seem similarly stymied. All report back that portals and other forms of interplanar travel have become even more unpredictable and dangerous. While known portals have become unreliable, there are many whispers of everyday objects and structures becoming gateways of planar travel. Unsuspecting travelers are finding that doorways, windows, even walls are becoming temporary portals leading to unexpected places across Faerûn or even other planes. If you're watching out over a group of adventurers, dear scryers, be sure to drop them hints of this great affliction, lest your explorers suddenly find themselves halfway across Faerûn or sent to the depths of the Nine Hells. I will keep you informed as we find out more, but for now, we shall have to satiate our curiosity by examining the results of the troubles that have been wrought. Some suspect the great Spider Queen Loth herself has something to do with the blinding, for her people were the most immediately and visibly changed. Where once Drow could hide their true allegiances, they seem to have been split into factions. Some Drow are remembering long-lost hidden heritages. Your lands may include some of these Drow heritages, or they may seem fanciful tales. I merely open the possibilities to you, scryers. It's up to your own magics to render whole the realities that your compatriots reside within. Of these Drow lineages, there are some who have forsaken the Spider Queen, and once sealed themselves away in a secretive city to the far north. This city, Caliday, is it hidden somewhere in the frosty spine of the world? Or is its entrance even further north in the barren, frozen wastes? The whispers of the realms say that the city is hidden away in a great glacier. Descendants of this city call themselves the Avendrow. These starlight elves seem to espouse the virtues of a utopian society and possess a deep bond with starlight magic. While you can find them up and down the Sword Coast or seemingly anywhere else in Faerûn, they are most commonly found in the frozen north. And yet, far to the south, some Drow are finding that their heritage harkens back to Sakoloth, a jungle city that is home to the Loren Drow, green shadow elves that have an affinity for nature, seeming to be able to wield the powers of the wild more inherently than others of their kin. Those that find themselves of this heritage come from a fierce and sturdy stock of Drow. Their jungle home, wild and dangerous, has honed their talents for survival. You may find them as fierce as any other Drow you can imagine. Which brings us to our last faction, the Loth-touched Uda Drow. Where once those that praised the Spider Queen could pass among the surface dwellers, their true intentions are now marked upon their faces. Since the Great Blinding, white spidery markings known as the markings of Loth are now clearly present, betraying their underdark heritage. After the Great Blinding passed, some Drow have found themselves exposed in their allegiance to Loth. Those that were hiding their true devotion to the Spider Queen, finding themselves suddenly marked for all to see. To say the least, this has created problems for the devotees of Loth. In Baldur's Gate, when the vision cleared after the blinding, and people discovered the true meaning of the markings of Loth, the guards of Baldur's Gate, the Flaming Fist, were instructed to round up and oust those bearing the markings. Will the Loth-touched ever be allowed back into the gate? Who can fathom? Though being devotees of Loth, I expect that many are employing all manner of disguise or magical glamour to insinuate themselves once more among the people of Baldur's Gate. If you're watching over a group that includes one or more of these Loth-loyal beings, I'd be delighted to hear what extents they'll go to hide their true heritage. Not all of the cities across the coast have reacted so intolerantly as those of Baldur's Gate. Though the Loth-touched are sure to be mistrusted by many, there has not yet been sanction against them in Waterdeep, Neverwinter, or Luskan. Perhaps the people of these places are more trusting, or perhaps more likely they are less blind to their city's own undercurrent of similarly aligned people. It's likely those cities don't delude themselves so much about their own virtue. But Baldur's Gate has always tried to retain the illusion of ultimate order and propriety. It's as if those fools there cannot even see their own Heapside district, or they believe their dark districts to be paragons of lawfulness. What else has changed since the blinding? You may find that your own adventurers have not changed at all. Or you may find that your mages and clerics suddenly have access to different spells. Or you may find that once familiar magics have been altered by this shift in the planes. Your barbarians and rangers may be the same as they always were, or they might find themselves with more potent skills. We have so much to discuss. But when next we meet, we'll delve into one of these particular tales. We'll discover a nefarious plot rife with danger. We'll examine creatures putting people in perils. Perhaps it will serve as a beacon for you to guide your unsuspecting adventurers to. Or perhaps you'll only seek inspiration for your own discoveries of the varied tales of Faerûn. However you find things for you and your adventurers, constant scryers, you will find me here, hidden away in my secret keep, gathering whispers from my bats, skulking in the dark. I dare not say too much about myself for now, lest some of the more envious among you count my knowledge as a threat. Suffice to say that I've been gathering this knowledge for a long time, and I am amenable to sharing it with you. But for now, I must leave you, scryers. I am starting to grow weary, and I need to feed my kraken. If she gets too hungry, she'll try and get out of the bay again, and it's a nightmare getting her back in. So till next we tell tales in the dark, goodbye, dear scryers.